Hello, everyone. This paper is really part of my wider body of work that looks at the real-world metaphors in films, TV shows, with today's focus being on Ash Ketchum, Pokemon, and ADHD. This paper was also presented at Kingston University's 2026 Postgraduate Research Conference as well. So I've done work using popular films, TV shows, TV shows to talk about the issues that affect us, including Bridgerton and Jane Austen as a vehicle for debates about whiteness and colonial property, Marvel shows like Jessica Jones on violence against women and girls, and also J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, eugenics and genocide. Using Pokemon to discuss ADHD is part of Jack Halberstam's Silly Archive, a term he borrowed from Lauren Ballant that illustrates how can be found how knowledge might be found in so-called low cultural spaces like reality TV, or in Pokemon's case, anime. I use Pokemon as a way for us to make sense of real life. Through a discussion about Pokemon and ADHD, but specifically the interest-based nervous system and dopamine-seeking personalities, I hope to illustrate these alternative entries into ADHD. For those who are less familiar, Pokémon, short for Pocket Monsters, is a global franchise that revolves around creatures that humans capture, train, and battle, first created in 1996. The universe spans video games, a trading card game, an animated series, as well as merchandise. In 2016, it caught a second wind with Pokemon Go and the later-film Detective Pikachu. The core concept revolves around creatures inspired by animals, plants, and mythical objects. As a trainer, the goal is to catch these Pokemon using spherical devices that are called Pokeballs, and train them up and help fill out an encyclopedia called a Pokedex. In the video games and card game, battles are turn-based, and it's a place where there are different advantages and disadvantages. E.g., a fire type Pokemon beats grass and bug, electric beats water, and the list goes on. But what happens on TV is that turn taking and type advantage is basically really thrown out of the window. So my era of Pokemon is 1996 to 2006, where in the games the goal is to train up your Pokemon and battle the gyms in various towns. These gyms are specialized battling arenas where trainers test their skills, and in the games they include puzzles that you do to get to the gym leader. After defeating them, you are given a badge, and for many ADHDers, this may be described under what some of us might call dopamine mining. The television series is also very one-track minded, where Ash's main goal, so the main character, Ash Ketchum, is to go from town to town collecting gym badges so he can get into the Pokemon League. In the games, you collect 8 badges that increase in difficulty each time, and then you battle the Elite Four. The Pokemon games are the ultimate dopamine reward system, where the goal is to beat the Elite Four and become a Pokemon master. Between the gyms, there are various side quests in both the games and the TV shows, where Ash battles a group of Pokemon thieves called Team Rocket, for instance, or you can go adventuring in forests and across the seas and through caves and face off against other trainers. This experience of becoming a master is a child fantasy, and of course doesn't follow much planning because it is a fantasy. If Ash is read as an ADHD character, this only has to make sense in Ash's mind because it's about getting dopamine, vague enough to commit to, but not too many obstacles that limits you that so much that ADHDers might see as an issue, like having too many different steps to get to the thing that you want to get. ADHDers generally get massive dopamine hits when starting a new hobby, but then that hard work of practice begins. That thrill can wear off and make it boring. Psychiatrist William Dodson introduced a term called interest-based nervous system that explains how ADHDers regulate focus and motivation, where they are not motivated by importance, but the compellingness of a task to motivate them into action. Ash is motivated by the thrill of the battle and the reward system of winning at the end. He hyperfixates on these battles, and then he gets upset when he loses from overconfidence and lack of practice. Ash is a very good trainer when he commits, but in the TV show, it's clear that he struggles to sustain focus, which shows up over 20 years of programming. What's clear is that his ability and execution tend to be opposites of each other. You can do the thing, and then when it comes to doing the thing, you are then challenged, maybe due to interest deprivation and the drop off. But when it comes to finding your way of focusing and sustaining it, a lot of ADHD has become relatively brilliant and really unstoppable with their special interests, and that might be also why so many are very creative thinkers. Ash is incredibly creative, and his battle style reflects that creativity through thinking outside of the box, using his environment to his advantage often. One example is Ash versus the gym leader Claire in the 2002 series, Pokémon Master Quest. For instance, he puts his Snorlax, who is an absolute beast, basically a huge guy, a huge Pokemon, fast and also very endurant, against her speedy Kingdra in the GIF, in the picture below. Snorlax is what we would call a normal type Pokemon versus Kingdra, which is a water dragon, which is a very interesting matchup. Ash is quite athletic. Snorlax is quite athletic, and in one instance is able to bounce from the underwater out of the pool and then lean back while in the air to avoid a power hydro pump attack from Kingdra. So he's quite Snorlax is much faster than he looks. Snorlax eventually tires Kingdra out, which is not something you get in the games. You don't get that engagement with environment in the video games. In that battle, Ash later pits Charizard against Dragonair, which you can see in the picture as well at the top of the page. And this battle takes place at the water gym, and Ash eliminates the water by having Charizard aim a fire blast attack or fire spin attack at the water, making it so hot that the water basically just evaporates completely. There are comments throughout the show that speaks to Ash's creativity, and we see this again when Ash faces his longtime rival Gary Oak, where he is at a type disadvantage, pitting fire flying Charizard against a water Blastoise. What does Ash do? He gets Charizard to burn the entire battlefield, which is all rocks and stuff. And in ADHD terms, what Ash does could be aligned with adaptive intelligence, cognitive flexibility, ability to pivot, mindsets, and problem solving when facing unexpected challenges. In that battle, he stops Blastoise from using basically water type moves. So because the air is too hot, and the water base just turns the air into steam or gas. So Ash is a great battler, but also isn't very good at desk work, and is quite hands-on when it comes to learning things. He's better with visuals and audio cues. He sometimes doesn't fully understand things unless it has a visual aid, which might also be why he learns a lot from losing, because he's going through the process of losing, which enables him to win. He also gets distracted easily and can't sit for very long. He bores easily, gets sidetracked, and he wanders, and often needs constant stimulation to exist. Ash gestures with his whole body, emotes loudly, is excitable. Anime styles are good at showing these exaggerated movements, and that you also find in comics. He is known for his impulsivity, linked to his overconfidence, ready to defend his friends, and has that very visceral, what we call ADHD rage, ready to risk his life for those that he loves. He feels rejection very deeply, and on losing battles, falls into a depressive state. One of his big traits is that he's also often late, which can translate as time blindness in ADHD terms. Pokémon as a cultural text is also something that may help ADHDs as well, with its gameplay loops, further to gotta catch 'em all triggers of collecting items, its features can trigger hyperfixation as well. One drawback may be analysis paralysis, building battle teams, could overwhelm executive function. Further to impulse buying in that world where if you win battles, you also get fake money too. It could be a slippery slope into blurring the lines between fiction and also real life gambling, where in our present day ADHD people are also overrepresented in prison in the criminal justice system and preyed on via things like their dopamine seeking impulses. Um, Talking about this now, I'm brought back to Mark Fisher, who commented on how NME magazine constituted a kind of supplementary education system in which theory acquired a strange lustrous glamour. And I think about this in terms of Pokemon and all the things it taught me when I was growing up. Um, Pokemon, especially the original games, built characters and resilience in a world of type advantage. You pick grass, your rival gets fire. You pick fire, your rival gets water. As children, we saw that every choice we made still would be a weakness that people could use against you. And Pokemon is about playing smart and learning how to plan ahead. And now you've got to train. As millennials, we trained to beat the Elite Four. Every Pokemon individually. We trained every Pokemon individually. No mega evolutions, no metas. The Elite Four and also Whitney's Pokemon Milktank were the bane of my existence growing up. The lack of training in video games now needs to be studied because now you can just pay for upgrades. We played for the plot, and now the makers of those games have lost the plot. Thanks very much for listening. And as always, if you found this interesting, you can leave a comment or you can send me an email at treyventour.com/contact.